Buddy, buddy, boo. So I am here with Rob, who is Rob Short, and he is the proprietor of the Queen's Head in Newton. And it's one of the loveliest pubs that you'll ever visit. I mean, it's just beautiful. It's got everything you want a pub to have. It's got cosy vibes. It's got beautiful, interesting things. It's comfy. It's got the log fire. It's got great beer. And we'll get on to your beer. He's just had a delivery, so that's good news.
That's right, as we speak. Yeah.
So, Rob, tell me first of all, you have, obviously, this is a family pub. I mean, your dad,
Yes.
David, bought it with your mum?
Well, actually, my grandfather bought it.
Oh, okay.
So
Talk us through the beginning of your story then.
So my grandfather, Harry, was a civil servant in London, and he was a very active man. So when he retired at the age of 60, he was thinking, well, I don't want that to be it. I want to do something else. And bizarrely, I don't know how he came about the idea of running a pub, but he then decided to look around for a pub because he thought that would be quite a nice thing to do, which is quite peculiar in those days, and from where he was coming from to think about doing this sort of thing. And the long story short is that they came across this pub in a sleepy little village near Cambridge. And again, back in this is 1960s, 1962. Cambridge was quite very quiet backwater, and everyone looked at it being a very damp, low-lying, quiet, sort of out of the way sort of place. And coming from London, people think, well, why on earth do you want to go up to Cambridge? And they just fell in love with the pub, and the pub at the time was about to be knocked down. They were thinking about knocking it down to straighten the road because they had a dangerous corner here. And they managed to talk to the local farmer who knew more about it. And long story short, again, is that they managed to buy it, and then they renovated it, and it went from there. My father came into the business pretty much immediately.
What was he doing? How old was he?
My father?
Yeah.
So my father, I don't know how old he would have been. So it's hard. Actually, I don't know. He would have been in his
early 30s.
Early 30s.
Yeah.
And
Did he have a family at that?
No, he didn't. But so he met my mother soon after they moved in. My mother was a nurse at Guy's Hospital, and my father was training to be an accountant at the time in the city, but he didn't really get on with that, so he was looking to get out. Yeah. And they went into the business with my grandfather. That's how it started.
Right. So why did they literally were just driving around and they found this pub? I mean, what was the?
They went to a broker.
Oh, did they?
In London, and they said, look, we're looking for a pub.
Yeah.
What have you got? And they came out with all these different places. Actually, most of them were down the home counties. And then they came up with this place, and they said, don't worry about that place. It's been on the market for years. It's half falling down, and da-da-da-da-da. And it basically, it went from there, and that's how they got to know about it.
So were there other pubs in the village at that time? Because obviously there used to be a lot of pubs in villages, or was this, there was no pub, so this was about to be knocked down?
This was it's a small village. There's only about 350 people in this village now. So back then, I'm not sure, even less.
Yeah.
But there was a pub called the Live and Let Live, which was across the road. Basically, would have been a beer house where you walk into a front room and have a pint. And there were lots of those sort of places and villages back then. And lots of the villages back then had lots of pubs actually. But being a small village, we only had one pub when my parents moved in. And then the surrounding villages, they had multiple pubs because they're bigger villages.
Yeah. So this was about to be knocked down. How long had it been empty for?
It was under threat of being knocked down. Well, the landlord's still here, but he was trying to sell the place and he couldn't sell it. So, and then the council proposing to knock it down. But,
So it wasn't in a great way?
No, it needed some work. And of course, you have to remember there was no listings back then.
Right.
So things were being knocked down left, right, and centre, and people weren't thinking twice about it. So that's why. So it's been saved from that.
Yeah. So Harry, the village must have loved that though. The village must have been behind him.
Yes, I think so. I mean, again, the demographic of the village is very, very different from what it is now.
Right.
It's very much a rural community. Most
Farming.
people worked on the farm.
Yeah.
And yeah, lots of people used the pub. And of course, everything was much more, villages, just everyone socialised within the village in those days.
Yeah.
And it was the start of when my parents took on the pub and my grandfather took on the pub. It was the start of people, they started doing things a little differently. They started getting beer from different places, and they got into the real ale back in the early 60s and early 70s. And they were involved in CAMRA in the early days. So a lot of the original CAMRA members who started CAMRA drank in here. A lot of them were from Cambridge.
That's interesting. I'd like to hear a bit more, because for people that aren't familiar with CAMRA, what does it stand for?
Well, it's the Campaign for Real Ale. Real ale, a lot of people like the idea of that particular term, but cask ale, I should say. So they were basically campaigning to keep cask ale alive, because back in the early 60s or 70s, keg beer, which is beer under pressure, was coming in a lot, and basically cask ale was under the threat of disappearing. Our cultural heritage of cask ale was disappearing, so they set up CAMRA to try and save it. There's almost parallels to this today, actually, because keg beer is getting more popular.
Is that like fizzy foreign beer? Is that?
Well, it's not necessarily foreign beer. No, it's some people. I mean, craft beers, which are very nice, but they're a different beast from cask ale. But basically, it's beer which is served directly from the keg, under pressure and fizzy. And you have good stuff, you have bad stuff. But the idea is basically cask ale is an important cultural icon, really, because it's unique. And what makes it unique is that when it comes out of the brewery, the beer that is, it's not fully brewed. You have what's called secondary fermentation, is when you rack it up in the pub and you put a hole in the top of the barrel, and then the yeast works again. And then that's what gives it its final character. So that's what it's all about. But that is quite unique to Britain.
I was going to say, because we obviously have a great history with beer in this country. I mean, we've always drunk it more. We didn't drink water, did we? So actually, we should be really good at it. And I've never had such a good beer as when I came in here and had a beer.
Well, it's very nice to say so. There's lots of good beer. We're lucky actually in that, but these days, quality of beer is fantastic, compared to the early days when it was questionable, actually, to be honest. And that's a big reason why cask ale was disappearing, is because the quality wasn't good, and landlords were wasting lots of beer, and they said, we'll go for keg, we'll go for lagers, and all these different types of keg beer, because it lasts longer, easier to look after. But like anything else, you look after it properly, and people love it. And I'm keen on all sorts of beers. Good beer is good beer, whether it's keg or cask. But I'm very passionate about the history and heritage of cask ale, and it's very important, even more important now, to try and keep it going and keep it popular.
Is that because the youngsters coming in don't really know about it or drink it, or is it just, again, is it a money thing?
Well, it's a mixture of things, like all these things. It's like cultural shifts, and youngsters drink different things. The craft beer movement that came in the last 10 years or so, 15 years, has been a big hit on it. COVID, of course, in COVID, you couldn't go to the pub, so people were buying bottled and canned beers from the supermarket, and a lot of that is craft beers and lagers. So people get used to drinking different things. Then also people get used to not going to the pub as much, which is another different story, different topic to talk about. So habits change.
And our tastes change. And I guess actually trendy becomes a thing, like the cans look cool, or,
Yes, cask ale's always had this problem with its image. Old man, beard, I've not got a beard, but bearded old guys drinking it. And there is a bit of an image problem with it, and that does frustrate me, because, marketing's marketing, and it is a very important marketing, but it's very difficult it seems very difficult for the cask ale market to get this right, for encouraging younger drinkers. They try trying very hard. but it seems very difficult somehow.
But CAMRA is a big thing. So I was reading. So you've just recently had this wonderful accolade, which, so I mean, you tell me, Rob, you're basically only one of only 5 pubs to make it into every edition of CAMRA, and people really obviously want to be in it. I mean, it's been published for the last 50 years, and in my notes it says, so originally in 1972, when it started and it cost 75p, 1,500 pubs and 105 breweries were part of it. Now that's 4,500 pubs and 1,800 breweries. That's how it's grown.
Yeah.
And so you're one of only 5 pubs in the entire country to have made it on their list every year. And that's incredible.
Yeah, it's very humbling, really. I mean, and it's not just voted on by CAMRA members. I think it's quite an independent thing.
Yeah, no, just random. Yeah, people come and drink without you knowing.
Which is really wonderful. I mean, and I never ever take it for granted. The quality of the beers is the utmost importance, and it's lovely to be in it, and it's been going for so many years now.
Yeah. It's a bit like an equivalent of a Michelin star, I'm imagining.
Well, I don't know about that, but it's lovely to be part of it, and people do mention it.
So it says beer comes from the barrel and not through a pump. That was in my notes.
Yes.
But obviously, so how many beers do you stock here? What's your? I mean, how many?
Well, the cask beer, so it varies. I do at the moment, of course. I could in the old days would stock 4 continuously. Now I do 2 or 3, and it all depends on how busy you are, and that sort of thing. Because it has to be with cask ale. You need to sell it quickly, like I was mentioning before. So you want to get rid of it ideally in 3 days. So less is better than more, actually, for quality. It's all very well having lots and lots of different beers on, but if it's all hanging around, the quality suffers, and then that doesn't actually do you any good whatsoever. So you have to be on it, and with cask ale you have to think ahead in advance, because you have to settle out the beer. So it's all about looking ahead and planning, engaging your trade, and that's all part and parcel of it.
That's interesting. Do you think you sell more in the winter or the summer months?
The thing is, everything's changing so much now. If you asked me a few years ago, I'd say more in the winter than the summer. But now things are changing so much in the pub trade. It's just different all the time, and so I couldn't really tell you right now. It's difficult to say. It depends. If you have a good summer, nice hot summer, you'd sell lots of beer, obviously. And we're traditionally a winter pub. So people like to come in and get cosy by the fire and drink beer. So it's difficult to say. I'd say on balance, we probably sell more in the winter than we do in the summer. I'd say.
Can I just say, we are sat by this glorious open fire, and I'm half falling asleep. It's so nice.
Sure. Well, that's probably myself boring you.
Well, there is nothing nicer. There is nothing nicer than being in this pub. You may have to kick me out, because I'm just, what more could you want? Do you ever get snowed in?
Well, the regulars love the idea of being snowed in, but unfortunately we never get much snow, so that really happens. No, but people do like a fire. I mean, it's a big draw for people. Yeah. You have an open fire here, and we have a wood fire next door. So it's just, it's just conducive to a country pub, really. And it's a lot of work to keep those going, but people like it. So. And it's our main heating as well, because we don't actually have any other heating. So that is our heating.
Oh, wow.
In case you're wondering about it being bad for the environment, that is literally our heating. So, yes, it is lovely, yeah.
So, I mean, we will touch on the beers a bit more in the pub trade, because it is interesting to me. Well, we've got someone working away in the background, because you're doing some decorating.
We'll do some decorating, but this is Will, who's actually working away.
Come and say hi. Where are you, Will? I'll get a photo of you later. There's no escape. He's trying to hide.
Yeah.
So Will's like the guy doing.
So
all the hard
Will's
work.
my right hand man, who's actually cleaning the pub at the moment.
Oh, Will,
so
hi.
It never stops. Will, are you around?
He's very quiet.
Oh no,
he's
not
like,
quite.
I don't want to be on. I don't want to be on.
He wants to get on. Probably.
I'll get him. Later.
Yeah, you go later.
Right, brilliant. So that's obviously, it's a working pub. You're going to open for lunch. I'm going to have lunch.
Yes.
And let's talk about. So you're unique. I mean, you're famous, I would say, for your soup.
Oh, the soup, yes.
As well
Brown
as the
soup.
beers.
Yes, we know the brown soup and our beef sandwiches, and we do other sandwiches and bits and pieces, but primarily, the soup was the first thing on the menu. Again, the story with that is that my grandmother made a soup for my father, who was hungry behind the bar one night. And in those days, no pubs did food whatsoever. I mean, you could get nuts or crisps. My father always tells this story. And that's it. So my dad...
Pork scratching, because it was like,
probably
not even
hardly that. Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. And very different. But so he had this bowl of soup, and then this chap who was in, he was a travelling salesman, said, "Oh, that looks delicious." He said, "If I get a bowl of that, I'll come in every day." So my grandmother gave him a bowl of soup, he was peckish. And that was that. So they started doing the soup, and I think the first week they did it, my father said they were selling 40 soups a day.
Because it's the sort of thing everyone wants, isn't it? It's a warm, hearty...
But no one was doing food in pubs. But that's just how it started out. So it was pretty much the first place to do food in pubs back in the day. Just a simple soup. And of course that just carried on. And we got known for it. And we call it brown soup because it's homemade soup. We have different recipes, so it gets different shades of brown each day. And I came up with the idea many years ago, having a colour chart, which people quite like. It's very tongue-in-cheek, but it's good fun,
It's brilliant.
And it's all part of the pub, and
it's brilliant.
Right,
So it is. I mean, obviously, you come for soup. You never know quite what it's going to be.
That's it.
And you choose your shade of brown.
Well, it's one shade of each brown each day. We don't do like multiple soups. We'd be making soup all day otherwise. Be dreaming about it.
I mean, when you look on the website, it is just brilliant. It's such a clever, just simple, brilliant thing. So Rob, you can take the credit for that.
Well, yeah, the soup.
And your grandma.
Yeah, my grandma really came
What was
up
her
with the
name?
idea. Ruth.
Yeah. And is she still alive?
No, she died many years ago. But
she must have loved to see that her soup became so famous.
Yeah, I think so. I think she was alive long enough to see its success.
Brilliant.
But no, it's very nice that people still, the reason we're still going is, like you're saying, we're a running business and we wouldn't be here unless people didn't like it, and that's the reality. We're very aware that you have to be commercial as well as having a lovely place like this. It has to work as a business. And for that, it means that people have to like what you do. And that it's very nice when you have these commendations where people write about you and say, how much they like the place. I mean, it's subjective with pubs. I always, when I get these awards, which is really lovely to get, I'm very aware that it's not for everyone. Not everyone likes what you do, and that's perfectly fine. And that's the way it should be with pubs, because pubs should be different. I like myself, we go out with my wife, I'll say, well, we go out for a meal, we'll go to a restaurant pub, or if I go for a drink, we'll go for a nice cosy pub. And that's a nice thing. You've got the choice of having these lovely different places. And that's, again, what makes pubs unique. And I hope that carries on, because where in recent times when pubs have got quite commercialised, you have chains which have the same feel in all their pubs, and I think it's a bit of a shame. I mean, the buildings are still nice, you still have the character of the building, but it's so nice where you see an individual pub. The person who's running it has got the characters on the wall. The stories are there to see by how they furnish it, how they are behind the bar. That's all very unique to a pub.
Is it a bit of busman's holiday if you get time off and you go to a pub, or do you like going to visit other pubs?
I love going to other pubs, and I still enjoy going to pubs. And my wife always says, I spend lots of time talking to people and everything else. I just enjoy it. I enjoy pubs. So of course, I love to have quiet time as well. Because you are most of your time socialising and speaking to people, but you have to enjoy it. That's the thing, actually. The basic ethos of running a pub is enjoying people, and that's the starting point. If you don't enjoy meeting different people, then don't go into the business, because that is really the basis of it. And it goes from there.
It's interesting. So Harry, obviously, I mean, when you look at your website, you've had some extraordinary people come and visit this pub. And Harry, was he a bit of a raconteur? Did he enjoy that? And then people kind of... you've had some great, interesting people through your doors over the years. And so your dad obviously is quite well known.
Yeah.
David is, I mean, he's been around for a long time.
Yeah, well, he's been a licensee for many years. He's one of the longest serving licensees. Yes, and he's Dad's a bit of a rocket raconteur. He does these talks as well that are called A Life Behind Bars, which he's been doing for decades now. And we were lucky enough to get him behind the bar here actually, and do one of his talks just recently. He basically talking about his life and times running the pub and all the stories that attached to it. And my grandfather was quite a character too. Yes, so he had quite a few stories. He was a very active man, so he did lots in well travelled as well.
Yeah.
So it all helps when you're running a pub, and you hope that sort of gleans your clientele. Attracts interesting people in.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your dad. So when he came to help your granddad run the pub,
Yeah.
He obviously enjoyed it, and he met your mum. They got married, and they had you. And you were born here, literally born here. Or?
I was actually born here. My brother was, because I've got a brother. Obviously, he was born next door. Because my grandparents, it's complicated. When they first moved up from London, my parents lived next door in a house next door called
the little cottages.
The cottage, yeah. And then my grandparents lived in the pub. So my brother was born next door, and I was born in the pub. So my brother's older than me. So,
that's amazing.
which is quite unusual, yeah.
Yeah.
So I always say to people, how long have you been here? So I've been here since before I was born. So a babe in my mother's tummy. I always like to say that I haven't actually been here the whole time. I have been here. I have done a fair bit of travelling. I got involved in various other bits and pieces, but I sort of gravitated back to the pub.
Yeah. So you must remember it when you were young, do you? I mean, your first memories are here.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
Of being a little one tottering about.
Yeah, it is. That's right. So lots of fun, lots of lovely memories.
What's it like growing up in a pub?
Noisy?
Noisy?
Always. There's always, I say noise, but there's always something going on. And yes, talking, murmuring. So you get used to, if you're living upstairs above a pub, you get used to the chitter chatter and the murmurings and there's people coming and going and it's busy. But of course you don't know any different. So that's what you know.
Yeah.
And it was a very nice upbringing. It was very, you meet lots of people again. From early on. I've got a wine delivery.
You go.
Excuse me a minute. I'll be back in a minute. Now this stops.
Yeah, I love it. I'll pause.
Sorry.
Yeah. Right. So tell us a bit about some of the people that have visited and been here and had a drink. So there's a picture of Michael Portillo on there.
Michael Portillo came in the pub in the 70s, I suppose it would have been, perhaps a bit later, but he was up at Cambridge. So he's come in with his friends when he was up at Cambridge, and then my father befriended him actually, so they're friends, and to this day actually, good friends. So he pops back in every now and again. And there's a picture on the wall and the dance room, there's a Shah of Persia on the wall there, and that's because he came in here with the then Lord Woolston, who was living in Newton Hall down the road. And Lord Woolston was a junior minister in the cabinet back in the 60s, I think it is. Again, my father knows the story better than I do. Because he had this massive house, he was one of the richest people in the country at the time, apparently. He had this massive house, so the then government thought it was a good idea that he could host all these various dignitaries that came to the country, one of which was the Shah of Persia and his wife, very glamorous wife. And they came into the pub for a drink and played darts with my grandparents, and that's what the picture shows in the end room. So that was quite interesting.
Gosh, I can't imagine that. That's incredible, isn't it? What a great mix of cultures.
Yeah, that's right, yes. And of course, over the years, all sorts of different people have come in over the years, but which is nice. And it's just nice meeting lots of different people.
Yeah.
We have from tradesmen to doctors to you name it.
Yeah.
And the good thing about a pub, it's a melting pot, and everyone's there for the same reason, is to have a drink and enjoy it. It doesn't matter who you are, you're on the same level when you're in the pub.
Yeah.
So whether you're a lord or lady or a builder or whoever it is, the unique part of the pub is the bar, and at the bar is where it all happens. You're there having a drink, you're ordering a drink, and you get talking to someone, and it could be anyone. And that's the great thing. And then you go and get your drink, and if it's busy, you might have to share a table. And then you get talking to people, and that's how people meet. It sounds old-fashioned, but actually, it's, you know, I think it's so important, especially these days. It's so important.
Oh my God! I've just realised I'm such a dick. I didn't actually press play. Oh my goodness, that was like the best way. But I've got it on video, so that's fine. We don't need to repeat that. Is this playing?
You got it back up on the video.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Right.
Okay, that's all right.
Getting carried away with what you're saying.
That's all
I'm
right.
actually not doing my job. Right, brilliant. Let's talk about the building itself, because do you know what year it dates from?
Yeah, well, the oldest part of the building is 1450. That's been sort of it's not carbon dated, but the old beams down the cellar. I remember someone dated those. So the basis the base of the building is 1450. That's the cellar, and then the bones of this old part of the building. And then what you see above that is around 1600s, and then it extends out one way, and it's Victorian basically. And there's a mishmash. Lots of pubs are mishmash of different ages, and they're constantly knocked around and moved, and over hundreds of years.
Yeah.
And we're no exception. So it's an old coaching inn. So it's why it's so old. So it's the old London Road, and it's one of the small coaching inns. The main one would have been the Chequers in Falmouth, which is a lovely, as we know, it's a lovely old coaching inn. That would be the main coaching inn.
Right.
And so we're just a small coaching inn along the way.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. So I put that there's only 18 landlords since 1729.
It's something like that, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do you obviously have children, Rob? Are you hoping that one of them will take it over and carry on?
No, well, I tell you what, I'm not putting any pressure on the kids.
And they're young.
They're young.
But they must love it. They must be really popular with their friends, as you were when you were growing up. Because, you know,
it's quite,
your mates just, must love it.
Well, we've had a few children's parties in here when we're still living, because we're living here until about a year ago. And we had various children's parties, and I think they enjoy it. Yeah.
So the pub itself is laid out. So we're in, what part do you call this?
This is Saloon Bar.
The Saloon Bar, which I love. I feel like we're going to have a
Yoke Corral.
Yeah. And then you've got the next door is
a public bar. So again, that's quite traditional. So the pubs used to have separate bars more in the old days.
Yeah.
And I suppose in the old days you'd have, talking about you're all here on the same level, but in the old days you would have the gentry would go onto the saloon bar, the snug, and the workers would go into the public bar.
Oh, is that right?
Thankfully, we're much more what's the word? Egalitarian.
Yeah.
These days.
Yeah.
For want of a better word. So anyway, that was the history of it. But of course, I think it's nice to have separate bars. It creates that lovely atmosphere rather than all being open.
Yeah.
It was more cosy.
I agree.
So.
And then you've got is it like what do you call it? The garden room, or what do you call the Victorian bit? They're like the
at the end. Well, there's a conservatory right at the end, but that was all part of the house. Yet to decide what's going to happen with that, because obviously we're in a state of flux at the moment of moving out about a year ago.
So that would have been part of your house.
Yes.
Oh, I see. Right.
Yes. So it's a very linear house at the back, so it goes on a long way. Of course, we're in the process of opening up what was the original bar as a pub around the back. So that we're doing that at the moment, which is quite exciting. Yeah. So that's.
Have you discovered anything? Well, obviously you were living in there, but I mean,
no, not too much. No, it's pretty basic, just putting up the carpets and decorating and that sort of thing. So you haven't discovered too much.
Yeah, so it's going to be another nice little area in there. And you've got obviously your bike. People cycle all over. People love cycling around here, and there's a place to put bikes. And you've got what? Also a garden. So
garden, yes. We opened the garden up last year, another project we did. So during COVID, we opened up a small part of the garden, because obviously we were living here at the time, so we couldn't do the whole garden. Yeah. But it was quite exciting. Last year we opened up, so we've got a big garden out the back, and we're hoping to access.
Is it a walled garden?
It's got a hedge all around. Yeah. So, and we're hoping to access that through the pub at some point. At the moment we go around the outside and through the gate. And then we've got seating out the front as well. So we've got plenty of outside space.
And I love, so that today we've got the cheese and pie van
at
the front, which is amazing. But I love last night, was it Scotch egg night last night?
Scotch eggs last night, so that's right.
You encourage local food vans and food trucks to come, and you have evenings of offering great food outside.
Yeah, street food nights are Wednesdays.
Yeah.
So we have that every Wednesday, different van each Wednesday. We've been doing that for like 9 or 10 years now, actually.
Yeah.
And then Simon, the pie man, he started coming just before COVID. And it was a nice thing to do for the village, something different.
Yeah.
When, especially during COVID. So he's been coming ever since. And he comes every Thursday, and it works well.
And now let's just talk about the bread for the sandwiches, the famous sandwiches that you do. So you get your bread from Fitzbilly's, which is one of the best bakeries in Cambridge. Is
Yes,
that right?
we do at the moment.
And you go yourself and you choose the bread and you have your beautiful
we have
sandwiches.
Yeah, granary bread. Yes.
Gorgeous. And you're really good at supporting local businesses, I know, Rob. Your wine and your beer and your, so talk us through some of the local companies that you use that supply some of your produce.
Well, food-wise, we try to source as local as possible, but I also want to get the best quality as possible. So our beef we get from Days over the road, who just started up. They've started a butchery there, so I'm supporting them because literally it's across the road. Our ham, I get from Suffolk, actually, from Emmett's in Peasenhall, and we did get our ham locally, but we couldn't get it anymore, which is quite sad. We've been getting it from a company locally for many, many, many years, but we're very glad to get it from Emmett's. Emmett's is a fantastic company and very well regarded, and we have ham off the bone from them, smoked ham, which is delicious. And cheeses, we try and get as local as possible if we can. And again, with simple food we do, but we try and keep it the best quality as possible. And then beers, we've had a long association with Adnams over the years from Suffolk. And so for many years we just did Adnams beers, but when I came into the pub 10, 11 years ago, I started doing more guest beers, and beers from local breweries. From all around about, so Milton Brewery, we've just done Papworth Brewery, there's Buntingford Brewery, and there's lots of different breweries we try and use. We use local, and we use breweries from further afield as well. So we do a mixture of local and further afield. So and I'm very keen on supporting local. If I can get what we need from a local company, I will. And that's the way it works.
And obviously it's not just beer, there's wine as well. You just had a delivery.
Yeah, so wine we get from a local wine company. That's Noel Young Wines. Again, he's very well regarded. I've known Noel for many years now, and he's fantastic in his wines. We do not a huge range of wine because we're not a restaurant, but I love my wine. And so what we do, and I think this should be the same in any pub. There's no excuse having bad wine these days. There's so much good wine out there for actually not a bad price. So we do a simple range, but it should hit the right notes for what we do. Not too overly complicated, but perfectly good enough. Yeah.
Now, the decor, you were saying to me that you're looking for some more furniture, obviously, to finish the room that you're doing. And
yes.
You pick things beautifully. You obviously have dealt in antiques in the past. You've got a great eye. What was here before? What's the story behind some of the things that you have in the pub? Because it's really interesting. There's lots of taxidermy. There's some really interesting photos and things. And just the decor. Talk me through, because you've got a lovely... colours, everything, is this something your granddad did, or you did, or your dad? Or...
Well, that's all the furniture actually has been here for many years. Actually, some of the furniture was actually on the deeds from, I don't know how many years, probably Victorian or before, actually. So actually some of the furniture, especially in the public bar, has been here for literally hundreds of years.
That's amazing.
Which is original to the pub. And then other furniture got bought in by my father. And then I bought in some furniture. In fact, the table we're sat at was I bought only a few years ago. And so, yes, it's a mishmash of different pieces, and a lot of it's original, some is bought in. But what we do try to keep it in keeping with the pub. And some of it's a little bit rickety. It needs a bit of work, but the fun is that's the charm. You have to work with that, and if it gets too rickety, I've got to go get busy with the glue and glue it together again. So yes, it's a real mishmash, really. So yes, lots of different.
And the taxidermy, has that been here forever? I mean, as far as you know, and the...
Well, the taxidermy is mostly next door in the public bar, and that was bought in, I think, mostly by my father and my grandfather, and the various stories behind that. I'm not sure about all stories with that. I know the goose, which you will see next door, is Belinda, who used to live in the car park. So she lived in the car park. She escaped from the farm across the road. This is back in the 80s. And she liked the car park. And she used to sleep next to my grandfather's car, next to the hubcap, which was chrome. And we think she liked that because she saw her reflection, thinking it's another goose, because I'm not sure if the brain power was that good. And anyway, she had a wonderful time there scaring the customers and traffic calming. She used to sit in the middle of the road. And so she got a bit of a name for herself, Belinda. And she'd come into the pub every now and again and harass people for food. And she made it to the Sun newspaper, actually. She got an article in the Sun newspaper, a little ditty. And she was so well known. So when she died, my father was keen to get her remembered by having her stuffed. And that's why she's on the wall.
Oh, that's amazing. I can't wait to meet Belinda. She sounds awesome.
Yeah, well, she was quite a character.
Have you had any other animals here, like dogs or cats or...
Yeah,
horse,
well,
you said about the horse obviously
yeah.
coming to visit.
Lots of animals. We always had dogs in the family, you know, over the years. But we never actually allowed the dogs into the pub because the problem is they get fed.
Yeah.
And of course, there's the road to think of and everything else. Cats, we've had many cats. A lot of them stray cats actually come in and live in the pub. And we had lots of stray cats live in the pub. And they made the best cats actually because they didn't get run over because they were streetwise.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And do you... So obviously the pub has got so many stories over the years. And you hear a lot of fascinating stories, I'm sure. What are some of the best? Has there been any fights in the pub? Has there been any revelations?
No, fighting. No, we've never done fighting. No, it's thankfully that's never been a problem. Of course, you get the odd, you know, there's the odd scuffle every now and again, but not even a scuffle. It'll be, you know, raised voices, but. That's never been a problem, and I like to think that's because, you know, it's the right atmosphere that everyone's going to get along and not, you know, have these problems. But there's what's the other thing you asked?
I don't know, any revelations in the pub? Like, has anyone
revelations.
come in and sort of, I don't know, announce something?
Oh,
or
I
have you
see.
heard something first? That's...
Probably, I expect so. But of course, barman's discretion is everything when it comes to that sort of thing. So I could say, but I won't.
I love that. Now it is, let me just look at my notes because I don't want to miss anything out. Right, why is it called the Queen's Head? Any idea?
It's always been attached to the Queen's Head. It's always been attached to the pub. The Anne of Cleves, which is on the sign, was given to the pub. So, but of course, I think, I mean, someone will correct me if I'm wrong, but I think most pubs which are called King's Heads or Queen's Heads or the Prince Regents were given the name for the monarch at the time. And then if you're just a random Queen's Head, I'm not sure. I mean, it goes too far back, I think. So yeah, I'm not quite sure. Yeah.
Right, and you've got games here. Tell us about your games. You've got some cool games.
Yeah, well, we've got a games room. In fact, we're going to do more of that actually. In our renovations, we're going to make more of the games room. So we have a Skittles table, which is not up at the moment. We had to take that down during COVID, and unfortunately it stayed down since because it needs a bit of work. But yes, we've got a traditional Skittles table, which will hopefully get going again. And then we've got various other board games and chess and darts and all those sort of things. Old traditional games, which we always try and encourage. People do bring out all sorts of games and they play them in the pub, which is nice to see. Drafts, shut the box, all those things.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Now, I read on the website, which I'm going to give the details for because it's well worth a look, and I'm hoping you're going to get lots of visitors. Well, actually, not too many. We need to keep it a little bit on the down.
Oh, no, we like lots of visitors.
So the King and Kaiser stopped for a pint in the early 1900s.
Apparently.
Obviously, we've mentioned the Shah of Persia and his beautiful, glamorous wife playing darts with your grandma and granddad, which is hilarious. Who won, by the way? Any ideas?
I think my grandparents would have let him win, I'd expect. If they knew which side their bread's buttered.
Did he leave them a gift? Did he leave any of his...
I don't think so. I think, he just popped in.
So I did read that in 1962 when Harry bought it, there was no toilet or bathroom here.
That's right.
And neighbours let him use...
Yes, my parents and grandparents used to go down to the manor house, the Hurrells, used to allow them to use the facilities down there until they had a bathroom sorted out, because they had the builders in, and it took a year or so to get everything sorted out. Yeah.
And it says that you were born, actually, when there was a beer delivery.
That's right, yes, yeah. There were 2 deliveries. I was delivered and there was a beer delivery at the same time, that's right. which is always amusing. I get reminded of them many times. Yeah,
So we have talked about the beers and we have talked about the food. And is there anything else, Rob, that you can think of? Any stories about the pub or anything that I haven't mentioned about its people or the building? Is there any ghosts? I mean, obviously there's a cellar when you're here on your own quite a lot.
Yes. Well, my staff are convinced there's a ghost. I, on the other hand, have never seen one. Not to say that there's not a ghost.
I mean, there should be one.
Because I'm very open-minded
Yeah.
to the idea of being a ghost. If there is a ghost, it's a very friendly one because it hasn't really made itself known to me. But I say never. Who knows? Who knows?
What do the staff say they see? Is there like
there's
things
all
moving
sorts of
or
stories.
just...
No. One member of staff, Will, seemed to think he'd actually seen the ghost. Other people think they've been poked when and they looked around and there's no one there. And things like that. But old buildings can be very tricky in the senses. Got hyper attuned, especially late at night when you're on your own and you're locking up, and there's all sorts of bangs and crashes going on in old buildings, and it can play on the senses. But I'm not to say there isn't. But we'll see.
So Will said he saw what was it? A person, like a man, a child,
a man? He said.
Okay.
Yeah, standing up with a hat on.
Okay.
It sounded very much like my grandfather, but an old place like this, you'd think if you're going to get a ghost, you should get a ghost. But someone pointed out to me actually a few weeks ago, said, well, why is it that people always talk about ghosts in old buildings and out in the country in the middle of nowhere, when no one talks about ghosts in the city, when you think about all the housing
all the
stock,
people that have lived there, and all the things that have gone on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it should... Yeah.
So you gotta have a ghost story, I think. Yeah.
Ghost story is always good, isn't it?
Yeah.
People like a good story.
I do.
So, yeah.
I love it. See how excited I got when you mentioned it. I shall be. Will, I'm going to be talking to you. Okay, brilliant. So, is there anything else? I'm going to go around and take some lovely pictures.
Yeah.
Is there anything particularly that I should take a picture of that's historically relevant to the pub, or it's...
Well, the old window there, that's the old outside window.
Oh yeah, lovely.
So before everything else was built on, so that's the old 16th century window.
Gosh, look at that.
Well, the Inglenook over there, and you've got everything's characterful around
and
here.
The hops are amazing.
The hops, we change that every 2 years or so. I try and change that over. We grow the hops, and I put it up myself.
You grow it?
Yeah, hops grows really easily once it establishes,
Really?
and it grows like bamboo.
Really?
No, you have to get it in the right place, and it shoots up, and then you harvest it in October, and then dry it out, or hang it up, and it dries out in situ.
It's beautiful.
So
you grow it in the garden?
Yeah, I used to have more plants actually, but it's great in the garden.
It's gorgeous. Yeah. I love that. Okay, and is there? I mean, obviously, that everything tells a story, and
There are lots of stories.
you're not telling me all the stories I know.
We'll be here all day. It is lots of stories, and pubs have lots of stories. Every day there's always something going on every day,
Yeah.
And luckily my memory is not actually brilliant. Otherwise my head would explode.
But like you say, your dad does these wonderful talks behind bars.
Yes, he does.
David Short.
He does.
If anyone gets a chance to listen to that, and also come and visit the pub and talk to you in person, and just come and experience it for yourself.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, if people like to cut that, more the merrier. I always say. A lot of people like a quiet pub, but we always say more the merrier, because you can't have quieter pubs. If you have quiet pubs, the pubs won't be around much longer. So we need to keep these places going. So if you think you're going to enjoy a drink and a chat, I'm very much up for a chat. And by all means, come in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can cycle, you can walk. There's ride your horse here.
Yeah.
It's just it is lovely.
It's a lovely little village. Yeah. There's a nice little walk down the road towards the church, and you can take your dog down there, and lots of places around the area to see as well. So if you're not actually from around Cambridge, Cambridge itself is a great city we're only 6 miles away from Cambridge.
Yeah.
So, very close.
And it is a wonderful pub. I can't stress enough. People come and experience it and meet
you.
Rob in person, because you're great. And thank you so
thank you.
much.
Thank you very much.
For
Thank you.
all of your time. And
Okay.
if you want me, I shall just be here next door.
Yeah.
I'm joking. I will leave.
It's a pleasure.
eventually.
Thank you very much.